Yeah, I mean, auto pets is a bad example. Auto pets is a... Well, microtransactions is getting a little... I would not call them... I would call them microtransactions, but I would call them content, like DLC purchases, personally, because of what they are. Wow. I redeemed a character selection. Hope you can do it up. Where is it? Where did I miss it? Rona, did you see that? Who cashed it in? Who cashed it in? No, I can just check on my stream elements here. Hold on a second. Let me jump into stream elements and just grab. Healing only run any character. What do you mean by healing only? What is a healing only run? I need more info. No, Auto Pets has an entire expansion of pets, and the second one coming out soon that are both pay to play. Infinite Revolution. What do you mean a healing only run? Do you mean I can only take healing items that heal? So meaning I can only take garlic and whip? Arts, garlic, whip, healing arcana. Laurel doesn't really heal. We could go all defensive. Oh, thank you, Johnny Be Good. I do think I need to move chat just a bit. It's getting cut off. Why don't I do that while I'm thinking about it now? Let's move chat just a titch inside so that we're not running up the edge. So we're gonna move. Oh, I want to move both of these just slightly. Oh, you know what? We can just do it by code here. Position. Let's move it. That. Like that. We can move me slightly away from the edge as well. Something like that. And that. Okay. We're gonna do a little bit of customizing here. Just to make this a little bit better. The leaderboard runs stop at 30 minutes. Can you find a way to farm Reapers? I mean, you could if you're an insane person, but nobody does that. Nobody's gonna try to get the leaderboard. I mean, you have to get like hundreds of thousands of kills, like 200,000 kills. You're not gonna grind out Reapers to get there. It's just not gonna be the valid way of doing that. All right, 10 px, 10 px. Okay. And then I just need to move my. Let me turn this off for just a second. We're gonna save. And let me just fix my my spot here.
Nice.
Why are we seeing those in? I'm very confused. I don't know why. I don't know why we're seeing those in the chat. Nobody subscribed. Oh no, no, nobody subscribed. I don't know what that was. Stream Elements doing weird stuff. Let's just close these. All right, almost done. Apologize. I think this will look a little bit better. We're gonna be 10 in there, and we're gonna be 10 less here. There we go. Okay, we're good now. So we're gonna go here. Boom. That should be a little bit better. Might be a good way to burn your CPU. What was the other thing? Something along lines like that would be very interesting. We can try that. I need to do a run that's like completely brain dead while I keep talking. Let's go with. We haven't done Arca in a long time. Let's do a good Arca run. Let's do a good Arca run, and we can do the second discussion. Least kills would be very interesting. Certainly, there's lots of like opportunities for more challenges. I'm not going to say that like just because the leaderboards need to get like a little better, that there's not opportunities. I think there's still opportunities to do other kinds of challenges, and more just saying like I think leaderboards are in a kind of a rough spot these days. Okay, so take Arca. Let's do Green Acres. How about Arca and Green Acres? This could be fun. What do we want with Arca? We're gonna have Lightning Ring. We want low cooldown. What could be interesting? We could go like ultimate bounce build. Arca starts with Fire Wand. Let's do Fire, Heart of Fire, Waltz of Pearls, and let's see where we go from there. I think I'm gonna start with Waltz of Pearls though. Okay. So now I want to talk about, ooh. I guess we'll take the guns. Low cooldown guns is always good. Let's talk about the game in general. The game in general. So where do I think that we're at in terms of okay, let me back up. How do I want to talk about this? I need to actually think through my thoughts a bit here. On how I want to structure my thoughts here. Let's talk about why is this game appealing over, you know, there's a massive number of, okay, what is going on with the music now? Did we actually reach the end of the music here? We actually reached the end of the music here. Okay. Let's just pick a new genre really quick. None of that garbage. Let's go. This seems good. Nope. Wow, this got real weird. Nope. How about this? There we go. Okay, let's start with why do I think the game works so well compared to other games that should seemingly do as well as Vampire Survivors, but for whatever reason, they don't stick as well as Vampire Survivors does. So one, the game starts off incredibly difficult. Okay, this music is way too hype for this discussion. Way, way, way too hype for this discussion. Let's try... What about this? There we go. What song is that? It's all random crap on Epidemic Sound. This is much better. We just have some nice chill music here. Okay, let's start the discussion over. So what is appealing about Vampire Survivors? One, the price, obviously, right? Price is really, really good. Super low barrier of entry in terms of just trying out the game. And the first runs of the game are like actually really hard. The game at the beginning at level, like, you know, level 0 with no power-ups, with very few unlocks, is like actually a challenge, and I think that's pretty cool. And then you play through the game and you get enough power-ups, you unlock characters and all that kind of stuff, and eventually you get your first win. But you think to yourself, okay, I got my first win, but I got my first win on the library or on the forest. Tons of more things to do, plus all these, you know, achievements I haven't done. So then you start getting into achievement mode. And there's tons and tons and tons and tons of achievements, right? There's achievements for surviving for a certain amount of time, for leveling up certain weapons, for evolving all the weapons. So there's just a ton of, you know, content surrounding achievements, and the achievements all have a reward. So other games, you know, other games have achievements. A lot of roguelites have achievements, but I think the fact that a lot, like not even a lot, like the majority of the interesting content is tied behind achievements is actually one of the major successes of the game. You know? It forces you to play different characters. It forces you to use different items. It forces you to play on different maps. And so you're constantly, you know, not even like bombarded is even too strong. You just constantly have things to work toward that are interesting. And when you do them, you get rewarded with more game content. And so I think other games, they might have a similar loop in terms of, you know, the classic. You beat the game and then you want to beat the game to get all the achievements, but very few of them tie so many rewards and content to the achievements themselves. So you have a game that already, it was challenging, it's very simple to get into, it was very inexpensive, and I'm continually motivated to keep playing the game because there's so many achievements coming out. You know, there's so many achievements left for me to do. And then, on top of the achievements, you know, if you're playing a game these days and you're a heavy gamer, you're typically gonna go online and see what people are doing in the game. What types of content are people doing? And the overwhelming content you're gonna see is secret character, unlocking secret character, killing the Reaper. What? Like, what is all this extra stuff? So there's all these non-achievements in addition for the people that, you know, finish all the achievements and are doing a little bit of like, you know, investigating the content out there. They're going to see there's a lot more to do than just getting the achievements. A lot more challenging things to do. A lot of interesting ways people have broken the game. And then on top of that, you know, right when you're done, you finally finish getting all the achievements. Hot damn! An update comes out, and there's even more achievements. And by the way, and this is where I think a lot of developers should learn from this. Every single update has almost been like the developer is trying to challenge himself to do the most random, crazy ass update that anyone could imagine. Like, who could have imagined that in the last update we would get a dog that shoots flowers out of his ass the faster that he runs? Like, did anyone have that on their Vampire Survivor character bingo card? I sure as hell did not. Who could have imagined that we would find a secret character based on the Legion boss looking like a giant tumor, massive testicular cancer character with an evolved weapon, insane stats that requires you to fight him before you unlock him? So, like, this is the right way. If you have a game that is primarily built around variety, easy replayability, short one game session time, just throw shit at the wall, because like the potential, you know, there's some like duds. There were some content duds. Corello is not fun, right? It's straight up not fun. But for every dud in the game, there's like 5 bangers. And I can't say that about many games. I can't say that about a lot of games. I played Autopets a lot. I've got like 300 hours in Super Autopets. I don't think that the expansion pack was included as many bangers as the original set. And I haven't played the newest set, but the little bit I've seen of it, it just seems to be adding complexity and like difficult mechanics over just like pure fun things, in my opinion. I think Giovanna's great. Cats were like hilarious. Like, who didn't love what the hell are these cats gonna do? The cats are cat fighting. Everything dies in the cat fight. Like, if you didn't get excited about that, you got something wrong with you. Like, this game is balls to the walls. Whatever this developer thinks he can get away with, he does, and it's because everything is fun. It's just fun. All of the additions are more fun. And then they're all tied behind new achievements, so you have to play specifically to unlock them. And you have to go find them, and there's just, it's loaded. Every level is loaded with stuff now. So, if you look at like how Vampire Survivors is just like how a game like this is consistently in the top 25 streamed games now 5 months in to early access. And there are games that on release were way better than Vampire Survivors, but I don't know of any game that has had such a consistently good, high quality release schedule in terms of content updates. Not one. Not one game I think has had such a high ratio of good new content to just duds than Vampire Survivors. And I think that game developers, whether you're an indie game developer or a AAA studio, can learn from Vampire Survivors that if your game is going to be fun, the most important thing you should look for in your content is your content fun? Are your achievements fun? Are you rewarded for your achievements? Like, this is like basic stuff. But it again, it's just, it continues. Like, I was almost out of, by the way, I was almost done with Vampire Survivors. I was like out the door in like March. In March, I was like, you know what? You know, I put out my video, it's doing pretty well, doing some leaderboard stuff, but I'm kind of getting burned out. And then Dairy Plant came out. And then Il Molise came out. And then Gallo Tower came out. And now Bone Zone came out. And the game just keeps pulling me back in. And it's not pulling me back in because I feel like I have to be competitive, or I feel like I have to, like, you know, grind out so that I can be number one in a leaderboard. It's just fun. It's fun to jump in every single time there's an update. And you may hate me for saying this, but like, there's a lot of this content I would have been happy to like pay $1 as a DLC. Like, if Gallo Tower and Bone Zone had been locked behind DLC with like 5 characters, I would have paid it instantly. Not even a question. I'm thrilled the developer has chosen the higher path and is going with you know, free updates. But damn, for $3, like, I'd be happy to fork out $1 for a lot of these updates because they are just bangers. The game is not perfect, so we talked about why I think the game is successful. Summary: simple mechanics, tons of achievements, an initially extremely difficult learning curve, and just in general, an early difficult power curve. Then, tons of content, but locked, you know, you unlock the content at a steady drip the better you get at the game. All of the new content is just extremely high quality, fun focused content. And combining all of that together, I think you get just a really, really good, evergreen game that is, you know, pumping out really high quality fun at a regular base. Now, it's not perfect. Vampire Survivors has some threats to its status of king of nostalgia bombs. One, the game's difficulty is not scaling with the power curve. And not in a way that's fun. The problem right now with maps like the Bone Zone is that they made the game more difficult, but the way they made the game more difficult was by requiring you to limit your picks to meta picks. And I don't see that as a long-term viable method of keeping the game fresh and interesting for a long time. I think in order for the game to be fresh and interesting for a much longer time, is that it needs to become difficult in a way that still allows for a variety of solutions. I also think that the game has opportunity to become mechanically more complicated in a good way. So this would be, I would say, the two things that are not so great. The gameplay should not get harder in a way that requires the power-ups, in a way that requires specific meta picks in order to be good. I think that those things can be done to push, like, for certain achievements. I think it can be good for leaderboards. I think that, like, having metas around those areas, totally fine. You know, what's the meta for getting 5,000 gold on a map? Like, I'm fine if there's a meta for that. I'm fine if there's a meta for, you know, surviving for 21 minutes on Ilmalis. But that's fine, because that's an achievement meta. I think an achievement meta is fine. But a map completion meta that requires you to pick certain items in order to be able to survive, I think is very unhealthy for the game long term. So then how do you do it? And I don't have the answers here. I think that's for the developer to solve. The game cannot be more difficult by throwing more bodies at you. That's just clear. The more bodies the game throws at us, all it does is forces us to play with garlic, Bible. You know, you start to get limited in your options. I think the game needs to become more difficult in a way of, like, mechanically difficult. And I don't know how to do that. I don't have a good answer there. But I think that's where it needs to lie, is mechanically more difficult. Like, I would love fights where you grind. You know, like, I love the idea of the Reaper, right? If the Reaper wasn't just constantly killing you, I would love the idea of a map that has the Reaper, a character like that forces you to constantly move for the entire duration. I would love that. And then the rest of the map can be fairly easy. You're wiping, you know, it's lawnmower, but it's lawnmower with a threat. Maybe that's the right way that this game needs to lean into, is more levels that are lawnmowers with legitimate threats to work around. So you can't just kind of like turn your brain off. You actually have to be thinking through the strategy, while also, you know, building up at least a somewhat viable build for killing things. Games that force you, like, what about a map that's similar to, like, the Drowner? You know, the map started to force you through a maze, and the maze is random every time, but you gotta get through the maze. If you stop, you're gonna die, so you have to keep moving through this maze while also doing the Vampire Survivor stuff. Enemy variability. Enemies that counter weapons, but only for certain waves. Like, I think that having there be more complexity to the difficulty beyond just, you know, throw more bodies at you, I think is the right way for the game to evolve moving forward. IMO, that is what I would say is the ideal way for the game to evolve from here. Also, I just realized I never took Candelabrador, so we can't actually level the axe. And then the other thing that I find problematic with the game, I already mentioned in detail, so we don't need to rehash that. But basically, the competitive area of the game should somehow, I think, have an in-game solution to limit, restrict, reduce the amount of RNG so that the leaderboard meta is more fun, because it's a little bit more likely you can get there. And especially if the game becomes more challenging, more mechanical challenging, then I think reducing the RNG becomes more interesting. Yeah, having damage types would be fascinating for sure. And with the ability to swap weapons mid-game. You know, you can drop a weapon partway through to get a brand new weapon because you're going to need it for that later wave. Like, I think that kind of stuff could be really cool. So that's my overall thoughts right now on the game. Again, still having a bangerang time. I would say about a week after a patch goes live, it's a little bit of a struggle for me sometimes to find the right content. You know, something that's interesting for me to play, that's fun, but also still enjoyable for people to watch, without just constantly banging my head against the leaderboard. But I would say that's I play this game for 2-3 hours a day, so that's really on me. It's actually one of the reasons why I've been doing mixed streams where I play a couple different games, so that I can, have a breather from Vampire Survivors, still have fun with it without getting burned out. That was some major lightning strike outside. Baseball game should be fun with all this lightning rolling on. So, thoughts on my assessment of what's good about the game and what I think needs to change? Do we agree? Do we have any counter arguments in chat? The idea of a pet could be really cool. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, you get that a little bit with the bird, but posture check. Okay, thanks. Any additional comments? What are other things that you guys would like to see in the game that isn't there right now, apart from just like increasing challenge? Is there anything else? I mean, endless mode's been talked about. I'm super nervous about endless mode, to be honest, because I think it's just going to be the least fun parts of the game for a longer time, and that does not sound enjoyable to me at all. Is there a reason I'm dodging Holy Wand? No. I'm just on complete autopilot right now. I mean, I got knives now too. We're just playing for fun. For monetization, I mean, certainly you could have maps and characters. That'd be the most obvious one. I would hope that the developer would never feel the need to resort to buy in-game gold with real money. I think that would be stupid. Oh, that's actually a thought. What if you had enemies that would like swap your weapons, or if not swap your weapons, like make your weapons disabled for a little bit, and then you would have to like all of a sudden adapt to the fact that some of your weapons were not working properly? I don't necessarily think that you need to be able to turn this into a twin stick, because most of the weapons don't really fit a twin stick, and I like the variety of not having to worry about, where I'm aiming. It's really about positioning and moving and then making decisions. I don't know. I go back and forth on the twin stick idea. Co-op? I don't know. I would like it to be versus. I would love a versus mode where it's like a battle royale and you're all playing the same map with the same seed. And as you kill enemies, you unlock power-ups that you can use to make other people's runs more difficult. Like you can slow their speed in half or you can half their damage, or you can reduce the number of picks in their next shop. Like, I would love like that kind of thing versus where you can mess with your opponents. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think that would be a blast. Yeah, like Mario BR or Tetris 99. I think that would be like the perfect way to do multiplayer in this game. You don't play versus mode to be kind. It's like my mom when I play card games with her, and she's like, why are you going out early? We're playing like phase 10. Why are you going out early? There's still people that haven't gone out. Because I'm not playing phase 10 to make friends, Mom. Okay? I've got a self-esteem problem, and the only way that I can fix it is by beating all of my family at phase 10. So will you get off my back about it, okay? I'm gonna go out when I want to go out. I don't care how you feel about it. No, I don't think you play the versus mode to be nice. I think you play the versus mode to screw with each other. That would be my number one. Above endless mode, above story mode, above anything else, a BR mode where you can mess with people and see who lives the longest would be like the ultimate, I think. Oh, no worries, man. We have a very active chat. We don't need to worry about silence. Genpot, I think you're exactly right. In that, like, the game needs to find a way to make, if we're gonna go the endless route, okay? So let's imagine we really are gonna go endless route. You need to have a way to make the end game interesting. And right now, it's the least interesting part of the run. It's like the mid game is super boring. You have the really fun early game where you're making all your decisions and all the RNG comes into play. You have the really boring mid game, and then you have the really exciting last minute. And the problem is that mid game gets wider and wider with every patch because the power creep keeps increasing. Levels to infinity, like adding more levels to weapons? I guess so. Well, you know what? That's something I never actually thought of before. I kept talking about stats. But what if it was literally, once you've evolved everything, instead of getting money and food, you could get food and a damage bonus to one weapon. Or a stat bonus to a single weapon. And not everything. So what if it was like, okay, you can add 1% damage to your axe, or 1% area to Bible, or reduce the cooldown of this by 1%. What if those were the late game scaling options? Weapons specific stat improvements. That you can only get once you've evolved, or you can only get it once you are completely filled up in your weapon set. It does sound like more power creep, but it sounds like more fun power creep. I think. And it shouldn't be too super heavy. Like getting 1% more damage is not a lot, but if you get a bunch of those kinds of things, you could do that. But the other thing too is that if you had something like that, all of a sudden more types of builds become viable. Right? Like if I could increase Garlic's damage, not death, what is it? Soul Eater? Death Eater? What is it called? My brain is just like not functioning. What is that? What is that? Soul Eater, right? Soul Eater. If Soul Eater, like just regular Garlic could be evolved or could be increased with stats, like that'd actually be legitimately good. Soul Eater, yeah. I don't know why my brain just couldn't do that. No, you're right. Some characters do that on their own. But I would like the idea of like having a level up option above just money and food. Like it should be food and then another thing that makes your build stronger. and then they can scale up the later parts of the maps, like scale up the difficulty across the board, but have these scale up options. At least then you're doing something. Have you ever tried Super Bible non-evolved because it scales with more stats compared to evolved? What do you mean? This is non-factual. Every single stat that regular Bible, every single stat that Bible is affected by also affects Vespers, including duration and cooldown. Passive drop in randomly or open slots. Fake news. Explain yourself. Explain yourself. Where did you get this knowledge about Bible unevolved having more stats to scale with? Because that's not correct. Vespers does have a cooldown. Vespers does have a duration, and Vespers can overlap if you decrease the cooldown and increase the duration enough. You can have multiple instances of Vespers running at the same time, overlapping each other, with enough cooldown reduction and duration increase. It is objectively better than Bible. 100%. 100%. I don't have a doubt in my mind. It's also in the wiki. The biggest difference between Vespers and Bible is that Vespers cooldown starts when Vespers attack goes, where Bible's requires 3 seconds. The animation is just very unclear, that's right. Well, it depends on what you mean by suck. If you talk about surviving the bone zone at maximum curse, Bible's fantastic. If you're talking about breaking the leaderboard, then no, it's pretty garbage. Bible is still, I would say, for just like a new player, it is the second best weapon in the game. For surviving vampires. None of the vampires. Hello, Shift Reaper 666, welcome. So, question to chat. Normally, I'm like hyper commenting on what I'm doing. How do you guys feel about me doing more of these, like mixing it up and having some runs where I'm like hyper focused on what I'm doing, and some runs where I just like chill and just like commentate on a topic? I'm actually genuinely curious if this is as engaging as like me going hard and focusing on what I'm doing. Mostly but since getting partner and the 10K, I've been like trying to decide on where do I want to go, what do I want to be, who do I want to emulate. Mix, I think mix. You do you. I prefer when your daughters do the talking. That's fair. They are pretty funny. The Vibin page. I don't get the reference, but there's a whole period of my life where I wasn't watching movies or television. And if something came out in that period of my life, it's unfortunately outside of my pop culture knowledge. Predator, yeah, that would have definitely been right in the period of my life where I was not really watching stuff. Sometime I'll do a full overview of my personal history and journey through life, because it's not like crazy, but I will say I came from a non-typical background and had a non-typical kind of like set of experience. Why are you running with Arca? Because it's fun. Because this game is fun, and I enjoy sometimes playing characters that are not meta. He's gonna have the developer on stream. Wow, nice. I did see that he got like somebody from Blizzard or something. What's meta? Most effective tactic available. In general, it really just means the game outside the game. So there's actually playing the game, and then there's playing the game the best possible way. That best possible way is called the meta. I don't play WoW at all and never have. My WoW experience was my friend really wanted me to play it, and so he bought me the game and bought me 2 months back in 2005? When did the game come out? It was while I was still in high school, I think. 2004, 2005? It was right before Burning Crusade came out. He bought me the game 2004. That seems about right. So 2005, I think, 2006, when Burning Crusade... It was after Battlegrounds was released, but before Burning Crusade. He bought me the game, bought me 2 months. I started playing, and I played for like... I played for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, if I don't stop playing this game now... If I don't stop playing this game now, I will never stop playing this game. And I made a conscious decision because at the time, I was hyper-focused on like my getting into like university and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm already having problems playing StarCraft and playing, you know, Final Fantasy and playing Halo. Like if I start playing World of Warcraft, I will never graduate from high school and I will never get into university. And so I never played it. And then, as a grown-ass man with kids, we befriended a not a neighbor. We had a neighbor that I keep saying neighbor. We had a mom that sent her kid to the school where Lara taught. Lara was a teacher at a school in Germany, and the mom was American, and we became really good friends with her and her husband and her kids. And then she played WoW. She was heavy WoW, and so she got us to play it when right when the WoW Classic came out, and we started playing WoW Classic, and Lara played for like a day, and she's like, I hate this game. It's not fun. Why are we playing this? And so then we played Final Fantasy XIV, and Lara was like, why didn't we just play this from the beginning? And then Lara was like, you guys are playing more Final Fantasy XIV than I want to play, and now you're way ahead, and I hate playing with you guys. So that was my WoW experience. It was, first, I can't play this game because I need to like graduate from high school and stuff. And then it was later, I don't want to play World of Warcraft because Lara doesn't want to play it, and so I'm going to play Final Fantasy XIV instead. Enfys Prime. Thank you for the follow. I think I missed a lot of follows. I apologize. I have, oh by the way, I've added a credits feature to my stream ending screen, which I will start running at the end of the stream. That includes all followers and subscribers from the day. So if you want to see your name on the stream, apart from the time that I call it out when you sub or follow, end screen, credits will be the way. This was a really chill run, wasn't it? Been too far down the WoW hole. Was in the world first race thing. Nice. I mean, that's kind of cool at the same time. We thought we were going to have a kid. The thought scared me a lot, to be honest. It wasn't to be, and I'm half disappointed, half relieved. That's fair. I mean, I thought I was going to... This is no joke. We were planning for 6 kids. We were dead set on 6 kids. We went to Germany, and while in Germany... And not to knock people that have 6 kids. I've got 6 kids in my family. So I've got 5 siblings. My wife has 4 siblings. We both come from big families. And we got to Germany and we're like, all right, we'll wait. We won't have a 3rd right away. And then the longer we were there and the more we kind of experienced European culture, and like the norm in Germany is like 2 kids. 3 is like a lot, but you're not going to get asked questions about it. But more than 3 and people are like, what's wrong with you? And so, and there are reasons for that, right? Like there are reasons why people are that way. And now we understand the reasons why people are that way. And so we're pending like, obviously like fate putting a child in our hands that's unexpected. Like, I don't know, like a sibling dies and we have to take care of their kid or something. We're probably done with the 2. And we already got lucky with our kids. Lily and Elena are both great, so I no complaints. And I you know, you don't want to try to get lightning to strike a 3rd time. That's like really, really putting yourself in RNGesus' hands when it comes to genetics. So we lucked out twice. Your ex had 8 siblings. 1 was crazy. 2 to 3 seems the norm. Yeah. That's okay. Again, I grew up with 6, but my experience was very different than my siblings' experience because, like, when I say I grew up with 6 siblings, I'm 6 years younger than my next oldest sibling. So I was basically an only child for 6 years because my sister immediately went to college at 18. So from the years of 12 to 18, I was basically an only sibling. And prior to that, the gap was so big that, like, I had a very different experience growing up than my siblings did.